Very good. Welcome to the Laptop and Desktop Workgroup call on the 9th of April 2025. A warm welcome. We are finally getting into the zone where our time zone confusion is getting resolved. It is 5 p.m. UTC, and with that, we're off to the races. And quick reminder, the usual housekeeping, let's say, I want to remind us all that this session is being recorded. If you don't want to be recorded, please turn off your camera to mute yourself, and obviously, then you will not be in the recording. With that, also, I should add that we want to follow the housekeeping in terms of our calls with the FreeBSD project's community code of conduct. And I want to underline that, yes, please, let people finish if they talk, but there is just one person that this does not apply to, which is me, because I talk a lot on these calls. So if I speak and you want to interject with a thought or have a question, then please feel free to jump in. Otherwise, with all the other participants, I would like to ask that you use the virtual hand signal to indicate that you want to say something, and then we will make sure that everyone gets their chance. Right, and with that, we can take a quick look at the agenda, which is basically already quite common to these calls. We start with a quick look at the minutes, a recap on the governance points that we have on our agenda for these calls. Then we'll move on to the foundation project, and then we will go back to our worksheet, which I realize to still open in the background. Right, so where are we governance-wise? Minutes. I need to admit, I barely made it to rate the minutes. I just did that yesterday, so you get them very fresh now as a rundown, basically. And I will switch to the minutes really quickly. Let me see how to do this. I should be able to pull that over here, I think. Does that now show my minutes? Double check. That is my call. Here's the call. Okay, everything broke. I see nothing. Okay, now I hope everyone sees the minutes. Do the minutes work for you guys? I hope it does. Anyone? The chat? No signal. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, can hear you and can see the screen as well.
All right, okay,
Yes.
so the minutes. All right, perfect. Thank you very much. Just verifying that I'm not screwing this up. All right, so let's take a look at the minutes. So these minutes are for the session on the 13th of March. Quick rundown, basically, we were looking at the governance in terms of collaboration of the enterprise work group and the laptop and desktop work group. We did not manage to meet, I want to add. I will talk about that a little bit later, but what is important here is that we do understand that there is an overlap in terms of some of our activities and some of the handoff areas that we want to basically improve and figure out how to handle them in the future. There's some progress there, and I will get into that just after the minutes. We were also talking about the call times. There's also going to be an update on this one. And yes, we ran a survey. I will again tell you about that in a bit. And then there were a couple news items, just like each of our calls. And then we looked at the laptop project of the foundation. Actually, I should add previously foundation laptop project. And we will look at the January and February update, the regular improvements on power management, Wi-Fi, webcam, how to handle the back and forth. If we have feedback, then we were asked to use the mailing list with a particular FF Laptops LSU prefix. And Alice also spoke to us about the formation of a usability testing group, sorry. And we had a couple items that we discussed about the documentation, where things were, open for discussion. Alexander brought the question about the PKG method and the handbook relationship. There was some suggestions on additions for the handbook and some reviews that were open. I asked about the wiki page for the laptops. Um, Björn brought the wireless driver to our attention that needs testing. And finally, there was also the kernel driver that I've been working on. Christos told us about the dev DSP getting rewritten and asking also for review and testing. And then we basically agreed on the next call time. And this was then basically the closing time because we agreed that we keep the current time with 5 p.m. UTC until we actually have results from the survey. Uh, Anyone disagree with the rundown? Anyone thinks that anything important is missing? Then please let me know. Otherwise, I would keep them as they are for the moment. All right, and with that, I assume that is an agreement because we're silent. And I will move back to the presentation. Let's see, yes, so this works, perfect. So, where are we governance-wise? The survey, I think, is probably the most important part to mention here. I ran a survey, and I suppose I'm not the greatest marketing guy because there was a reply rate that was, well, meager at best, let's say. There were 3 people that responded, and the results, as you can imagine, with 3 people is, well, let's say varied, not necessarily statistically significant. And there's basically the suggestion to either stick with 5 p.m. or move things to 3 p.m. UTC, I should add. And I'm a little uncertain. I would say that is not sufficient. No, there's not a sufficient number of responses to actually come to an agreement which time works best. So what I will do after this call, what I would like to suggest doing after this call is basically rerun additional communications on the survey and request more feedback, more inputs. And if we don't get additional input, then I would suggest we stick with the 5 p.m. time slot for the time being, because if there was stronger interest for us to move the slot somewhere else, I think then more people would have replied. Except, again, as I said before, because maybe it's been a marketing issue or a communication issue, maybe if people were unaware of the survey, then I will first attempt to improve that. In terms of the sway support, because that was also an open topic from previous calls, because there was some feedback that needs improvements. I did get in touch with the respondent who actually brought that topic. I have not heard back from him, at least not that I'm aware of. Maybe again, I might have missed an email. Maybe it's been, coming in the last 5 minutes. But when I created the slate deck, I was unaware of having received any explicit reply to that. So I would like to suggest we park that and take that from the to-do list, because it looks like we're not going to get much more details on that one, unfortunately. And yes, we have this ongoing task for all of us to please keep looking also at the project planning board for the FreeBSD Foundations laptop. I think there's definitely been people doing that, including myself. So I think we can move on. And as I said before, yes, we have been yes, I should also add we have the wiki page, but what I actually want to say about the governance here is we've been talking about the overlaps between the Enterprise Working Group and the Laptop and Desktop Workgroup. What we have now is, let's say, a working document that has been, handed back and forth between Greg, Ellis, and myself, which I think has reached a state where, things are progressing. There's still some work ahead of us, I would say, but I think we've had a very good start in terms of, identifying relevant points that need discussion and conversation. We will keep working on that. With a little bit of luck, we will find a call date also, maybe in April. So I'm confident that we will have additional progress that we can report on during the next call on that particular topic. And with a little bit of luck, we'll have some draft that we can also show you to basically have a conversation or maybe question and answers on those particular points. All right. With that, I would like to bring to our attention a couple of news items. Some of them are, I think, very relevant, and um, some of them, as a matter of fact, will probably raise additional questions, particularly points that you might not have heard yet because they're reasonably fresh, let's say. These items are, again, I want to remind us, intentionally chosen to be points that are not immediately related to the works that we have put on our worksheet and that is immediately related to the work group. If you feel that things should be moved more into the basically new session update or the update session on the particular items, then please feel free to get in touch. And the same applies if you do have news items yourself that you feel are important and relevant to the group, then please also feel free to share in advance. And I will make sure to put those on here as well. So let's start with the first item. And I think this is actually kind of a kicker because this raises a lot of questions for myself and most likely for some of you as well. I noticed this week, I think it was this week, where there was news that Framework is going to stop selling some of their models in the US because of the US tariffs. And it appears to be exactly the models that were also mentioned for the Foundation's laptop as one of the models that is kind of a reference model. So as you can imagine, I figured, okay, I should tell you about that. If you haven't heard about that, actually, I realize I should be putting the link in here because you can read on that from, I found this on 404 Media that reported on that. I could not find any particular reference information on that on Framework's website. So I suppose maybe we still need, or I should probably still verify that maybe with, what's his name? I forgot. Mr. Schaefer, I think. I forgot his first name, which is a contact that we can probably ask about this. But if I don't know, maybe Alice, maybe if you know something about that, or if someone from the foundation might like to say something about their thoughts, if that is gonna have any effect on the choice of models that we have for focusing on in terms of confirming that FreeBSD works on those models, I would be very curious about that. If you want to keep it off record, I completely understand it as well because I imagine I might be surprising you with the question. Second thing, I want to point out that Alan asked for help getting Keyman working on FreeBSD. There's also an article or more information on the mailing list on this one. I think that might also be interesting to check out. There's been news about the ThinkPad L480 touchpad that people finally got working in it. Originally, there seemed to be some problems with the Synaptics driver, and by uninstalling the XF86 input Synaptics package, they actually managed to make it work. There's also been some basically desktop-related software updates like GIMP and LibreOffice. I have to admit, I wanted to check if they're already once. I forgot about that. Well, I guess I'll leave that up as an exercise for the viewer, but I will be happy to put that in the slides later on once I check that. There's also been an interesting article on the interwebs about how to get the fingerprint reader working with FreeBSD. I found this also very interesting. Although I have to remind us all that when I think back to our survey that we originally ran, there was actually less interest in getting the fingerprint reader up, but I imagine there's still people who might want to check that out. So there is a description and a rundown on how to set that up and how to get that started. There's also been a bunch of various, usage stories and, how-tos that were published that I found, and one in particular interesting, obviously, with the Framework 13 And there's also a YouTube video that I stumbled across where somebody also was advertising FreeBSD as a true alternative operating system. And I think right now, as we are in this spot with Windows 11 and we're that well, we are by fact basically in a spot where we definitely can do more advertising for FreeBSD, and I guess that is also an interesting tidbit. There's been great news also on CUDA. Gleb mentioned that also again on the mailing list. It's now available in ports, which makes it even easier to install, as you can imagine. So if people want to try that out, the fresh ports is linked here. And Christos actually also had a bit of back and forth about what is broken and what works and what doesn't work, which I think is also good. And one of the learnings there was, for example, to use the firmware get utility, sorry, to update things for the graphics. Apologies for that. And these were the news items that I have. And with that, I will hand over to Alice. And I hope you're ready.
Yeah, just unmuting all the things that needed to be unmuted. Can you hear me now? Yes, okay. I was just thinking, actually, maybe we could take a second to just recognize all Chris's hard work in running these calls. And, you can clearly see like how much has gone into the preparation for this and the work in between time. So it's great, Chris. Thank you so much. And I think it's so valuable for everyone in the community. And if you agree, you can put one of those cool emojis that just floats up.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much. Thank you for participating, and thank you for joining. Thank you for being there.
Yeah, because I know you're trying to fit it in around other things, as many people are. All right. So talking about the Foundations project, probably most people have seen this slide before, but we're looking to improve the laptop support and usability of FreeBSD on laptops. So that's something that will run well out of the box on a range of devices. We would like to accelerate particularly developer adoption, but also corporate adoption through improving things like security, committer experience, any vendors who are basing their products on FreeBSD, and of course, anyone who just wants to use FreeBSD as an individual user, corporate or otherwise. Okay, cool. Next slide, please. Can you hear me all right? Is it a bit quiet? It's okay. Okay. So updates this month. I know we're in April, and it always feels like it's lagging 2 months behind, but it kind of isn't, because by the time people have finished their work in February and let me know what they've done, then I've written it up, and then it's been approved, and then it's been published. It's sometime in March, and then the next LDWG, the next LDWG, it ends up being the April one. So, but the report is there for you to take a look at. I don't know, Chris, would you mind clicking on that? Will that work? So you can see here that we have a structure where we first say what's completed. So there is now a tool that lets users transition to using package base. So if they're not already managing their system with package base, they can now transition to doing that. And that's really important for getting users to adopt package base. And you can read more about that there. Then you can see that we've got some power management stuff, sort of suspend and resume based stuff going into review. There's some stuff relating to Linux Wi-Fi drivers that had some blockers, and now I guess anyone who's been a contributor to FreeBSD will know that when you start looking at something, you'll often find that there are blockers and various bits and pieces that you need to kind of smoothen out before you can make the progress you want to. We also have the Wi-Fi 4 and 5 limited testing available sorry, Wi-Fi 4 and 5 available for limited testing. That's a better way to say it. And a port of Linux 6.7 graphics drivers. And then we can scroll down to just general progress updates. So these are things which aren't finished and aren't in review, but you might like to know how we're getting on with it. And that actually covers quite a lot of interesting things in there. So we've got heterogeneous core work, we've got non-standard audio and virtual audio, we've got scrolling up and down a bit, but yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in there that you can take your time to go and have a look at. And please do read all the way to the end, because so many people have put work into this. I know we only give a short update in this call, but you know, there's literally like 15 people or something working either full or part-time on this, and thank you to all of you as well for showing up and listening to our updates and giving us feedback on the mailing list. Cool, can we hop back to the slide now, Chris? Thank you. And if you are curious as to what will be going into the March report, which I'm about to start writing as of any day now, you can go and take a look. Yeah, thank you. On the project board, and you can filter that down by labels, or you can just take a bit of time to look at that. It is possible to do all kinds of interesting things with the view of this, so you can filter it and you can sort it and things like that. It's non-destructive, so go ahead and just dive in. But yeah, that's where you would go to look. Thanks, Chris. And one thing to just note, I know I mentioned it last time, we are trying to keep discussion out of the GitHub comments, just because they're not very persistent. So I've now updated the README on that repo to point people towards the desktop mailing list threads that we've got going. And that is now in the README of the repo. So if you want to know about that, you can go and look there, or just head over to the desktop mailing list itself, and you should be able to find them. Yeah, so as I was saying, some things with Wi-Fi are ready for testing, or at least we'd appreciate some testing at this stage. So we have Bjorn's work on the IWL Wi-Fi chipsets, high throughput and very high throughput. It's relatively simple, I think. If you, oh, I see. Sorry, Bjorn, you were talking about the second section, IWX, right? So if you click on that link, you can try that. And then the second one is the IWX one, which is been worked on by Tom Jones, and he is still testing this himself. But I think he's also interested to get other people's feedback. This, I think, was what Bjorn was commenting on, which is you can just run fwget to get the firmware and not to do anything manual.
Alice, jump in really quickly, because I think Alex has a question. Alex, you've got your hand up, right?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I just posted a link in the chat. I've got a manual draft up for IWX that needs testing too. Thanks.
Got it. All right. I think, Joe, you also raised your hand briefly. Any questions or?
No, sorry, that was a mistake.
No problem. Happened to all of us, believe me. I've done that too as well in the past. All right. Sorry, Alice,
Great.
please go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're done with this slide. A small update on user testing. So our volunteer Ben has been fantastic. He's put a lot of effort into creating a proposal for how we will tackle some user testing to help support like the best possible outcomes for the work we're doing on laptops. We have also aligned a developer with this, so we hope that we should be able to support the things that Ben wants to do. We are still currently just figuring out where, if there's anything we want to change before we go ahead with it. So hopefully this time next month we will be able to give you a bit more information and probably update you through the desktop mailing list as well. And I think that's everything. Yeah, so same links that you always get, but just keeping them there for ease of reference.
Maybe a quick reminder for all of us. I think, do I still have the mailing list open? I suppose if people have inputs or things that they want to suggest, the suggestion is still open to use the mailing list with the prefix, right? That is still going. Do I understand this right? Or
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
because I'm just wondering, I just recently also posted something for Vermaiden because Vermaiden was asking about a couple things. Just wanted to double check that. Okay, so if we send something to that mailing list with a particular prefix that I just happened to not find because I could swear I posted something, but I guess I did not. Oh, I'm on a wireless mailing list. That's why I'm not seeing it.
LDWG, I think.
Say again, please.
LDWG, Ludwig?
Yes, FF something actually. Hold on a second.
I think it was FF-LSU or something memorable like that.
I'm looking for it right here. Hold on a second. So I have something right. For example, here. So oh, there was actually I have not seen those. LSU even replied to that. Okay, damn, you guys are fast. I just posted it, I think, like yesterday. All right, so right, perfect. So you've already replied. Perfect. People should be posting like this or keep posting like this if they have something, and then
Yeah.
we'll follow up on that. Okay, that's great. Yes, wonderful.
I mean,
Thank you very much.
I guess the thing to say is we have some threads around specific discussions like this one, the power discussion thread. So that's great if we can try and group discussion together. I know it's not
Right.
easy with the mailing list, but especially when the month ticks over, I'm not completely sure what happens at that point. But yeah, that's the general idea. That's the general idea.
Okay, it seems to work. That's good. All right, thank you. Then let's move back. Wonderful. With that, we come back to our areas of interest, which is basically our worksheet. And I want to point out, maybe I'm jumping ahead here, I don't know, but I noticed that Christos was announcing also already on the mailing list that he's looking for testers. There's a fabricator review open. I think Christos is on the call. Do you want to say something about that? I think he was on the call. Is he still?
Hello?
Yes, there you are.
I sent a call for testing a few days ago, and I've received some feedback already, so I'm in contact with some users. But so far, I think the patch is working fine, and I'm gonna start pushing some follow-up patches now, as soon, either today or tomorrow. So yeah,
Okay.
I keep everyone informed in FreeBSD multimedia, desktop, and hackers. So yeah, if you pay attention to these mailing lists, you will see if there's anything.
All right. Thank you. Then let's have a look at our worksheet. Anyone on the call want to share something? Any progress? Any particular items of news? Any particular additions? Do we have any updates in here for today? No, no additions. Actually, I'm late myself because I did something for my own work, but I have to still put that in here actually. Anybody got anything? Any news?
Maybe a very quick one. So I was daily driving Frameworks 13th generation Intel, from September until last Friday, and I moved seamlessly to the latest AMD, well, latest I don't know, but 7840, and I'm pleased to report that it still works beautifully. So that's great, and hopefully we can. So we were hoping to move everybody on our end on to that framework. So given the first change between Intel to AMD, we put pause, and then we started again last week, and we bought the AMD for half of our people. So I hope that this will stay on the list, mostly because it's going to be difficult to keep motivating my partners if the target moves all the time. But at least it's working very, very, very nicely. That's all.
Can I ask you, because out of curiosity, I'm using an AMD based framework myself. I suppose you're running on 15, or are you running on 14?
I'm running on 14 since the beginning, and actually,
Okay.
you're the one who made it possible for me to move to this initial machine. And now when I'm on 14.2, and
Okay.
I mean, almost everything is working perfectly,
Except
included
sleep, I guess.
the print reader. Sorry.
Except sleep, I guess. The sleep does not work suspend, right? Or does it work
To
for
be
you?
honest, I haven't dared try,
Okay, okay, okay. Well, that
but I
makes
can.
sense.
But I can. The rest works very nicely.
Hmm. I agree. I mean, it's generally a great machine, and in
Oh,
contrast to the Intel-based
sorry.
one I had before, I like the AMD a lot. Completely agree.
Okay, but
Thank
Sleep
you.
was working on the Intel for you, right?
Second,
So Sleep was working on the Intel for you.
yes, Sleep was working great on the Intel, very well. I mean, that was one of the key strengths in that device. I mean, it was just it was just working. That was plain beautiful, I have to say. Um, and I remember there was a time where, at least with 13, the graphics was a bit of a challenge, but with 14, everything just fell into place, and it worked. But so I can definitely underline that. All right, thank you for the feedback. All right. Anything else people want to bring? Yes, please, Lars.
Is there any possibility to try and start testing the modern standby feature?
I think that is still work in progress, if I remember correctly. I think that is on the agenda for the Foundations project. If I'm not mistaken, they actually, is this already under work or not? At least I could swear I saw
I
it
think
on the.
there are patches. There are patches for 15,
Right.
and I think there was a call for testing on
Mm-hmm.
that. It was merged to, I don't know if 14 stable, but I think 15, yes, and a few days ago.
Mm-hmm. So I guess you guys can see this is that, I think, what you guys are talking about. Somebody raised their hand. There you go. Yes, Ed, please go ahead.
Yeah, there are quite a few different patches in progress for it. They're not all in. There's a lot that is not yet committed. One of the goals that I am trying to find a good way to move forward on is to make the work in progress that's under the Foundation's laptop usability project more readily available for testing. I'm looking at trying to have a work in progress branch that will have all of the various work that we're currently funding in a single place that can be can be used for testing more easily. That doesn't exist yet. So right now, if you want to give that work a try, it will involve applying the patches from all the reviews that are in progress to try it out.
I understand.
All right. Great. Thank you. So I have one more thing here actually. We talked about IWL before, and I added some additional information here also about IWL. Something that Björn also raised on the mailing list that maybe if people have missed that, I think it's worth reiterating really quickly. I think it's on one of the next slides. Let me check. Yes, and I want to point out, and maybe I don't know if Björn is on the call. I think maybe if Björn, you want to say something to that? It is there's a change basically happening, right? Björn's still there. Cannot see him. Yes, there he is.
Yes, yeah, the change will happen probably soon after the call for main at least, and then in a few days for stable 14. I'll remove the IWL Wi-Fi firmware. We've done the same thing for RTW88 for the Realtek ones, and 89. I think they were never connected, but we also had them in the tree and removed them again. Basically, this came out of a discussion with Core 2 years ago, and there's been a lot of work since migrating firmware to ports, fixing install media, fixing installer, and all of these things to be ready, so we can avoid carrying this entire binary blob stuff of hundreds of megabytes in source git. While it makes maintaining a bit harder, the long-term solution is probably cleaner in ports and packages. And with FWGet for Manu, it's basically run the command and you'll get what you need for your device.
Right.
And people, one thing people should do is run FWGet before they do the updates once the firmware is gone, because otherwise you reboot and you'll not have wireless anymore.
And I understand there's also higher speeds available with the newer drivers, right?
Yes, that's what Alice had the link earlier with the call for testing.
Mm.
That's all on the wireless mailing list at the moment.
Right.
And people who are installing the new firmware will automatically get this enabled if the chipset is supporting it.
Right. All right. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Anybody got any other news items or items of interest that you want to raise? Any call for actions? Okay. Then I guess I will raise my own topic really quickly. Well, there was one more item that I also wanted to point out. I think it's been mentioned maybe before, but I don't think I had that link in the slide deck previously yet. So I put that also in here. I wanted to point out that Framework themselves also have a GitHub with a focus on FreeBSD, with where they list the compatibility options with the various models, which ones work, which ones we do know that they work. I should probably add. And there's also some information on how to get things up and running. And particularly if people, have a framework for the first time, this may also be an interesting resource to check out. So because of the fact that, as we said, basically this is one of the reference models, or let's say the framework, particularly the MD one, is one of the reference models that we're looking at in the FreeBSD Foundations project. I think it is well worth knowing that there is a particular GitHub focused on that particular area. And last but not least, I'm not going to run through the whole shebang from the last time. And I did not update that, I think. No, I did not update that. Again, stupid me with, doing the slides a little too late. But what I wanted to add, I'm not going to rerun what I said the last time. I just want to add, there's been one additional feature that I've built into my driver. I can now, or we can now use the hardware keys to change the backlight strength, whether you're on the battery or whether you're on power. You can actually dim or increase the brightness of the screen also through the keys now, and the ports for the driver has a ports submission has been made by me, so that's also on the way, and eventually we'll hopefully see it in ports. So if you are one of the people like me who are running either on console or on a lightweight X11 environment without, full-blown desktop environment that has a brightness feature built in, then this might also an option that you would like for that is worthwhile to check out. Let's say it like that. With that, I would like to come back one more time, because creates the magic, onto our worksheet and ask if there's anything you guys believe is missing. If there is, then please, either you can speak up now. If you're not on the call, obviously, please feel free to add things if you believe that we have some area missing that is relevant for the community, then please feel free to add it in, put your name in, whether as a contributor or as an owner. If you want to pick things up, then please do so. As you can see here, there's already a couple items that have particular items and owners, which is great. But I think there's also still a lot of items missing owners. And yes, we will address that over the next coming weeks, by also having our conversation with Greg Wallace and Alice about the governance and the particular handling of items that have the risk of getting orphaned eventually. So we'll not be ending up with, a bunch of items that nobody's working on, because yes, we know there's always more work than available time, and the size of our community and the size of the number of developers, let's say, limits what we can reasonably do. And I think it is worthwhile focusing on particular items and do those well. Just like Ed, I think, recently said that about the FreeBSD Foundations project. We don't want to do everything and not do, not have a lot of progress anywhere, let's say, but rather focus things and have strong progress in particular areas, and then benefit from that instead of, spreading our energy so much that we don't see any results. Great. So quick look around the participants. Anybody want to add anything, say something, call for action? How are you guys doing? All right. I guess I would like to move to the future and the next steps, and I would like to make a suggestion, because of the fact that I noticed that we are coming to the point where, because of the fact that we are having those calls regularly, and I think that also because of the fact that we understand what happens on those calls, and we have a consistent basis on what we're talking about and what we're talking in terms of what is relevant to the community. I think it may be worthwhile to rethink the timetable. So in the past, we started with a 60-minute block, then we moved to a 90-minute block because we used up so much time. But I noticed that we've been progressing from a 90-minute slots back into a time window that actually fits into a 60-minute window. And we started around 50 minutes ago, so I can already tell that very likely we will manage to stay within a 60-minute time frame with the call. So I would like to suggest to start moving back and scheduling things also for a 60 minutes block, because I think all our time is, important, and we can still have, off the record conversations afterwards. That is completely fine. But I think in terms of, recording time and having a scheduled time where we hope to have the expectation that all the participants manage to stay on the call and participate actively, I think it makes sense, to limit ourselves to the actual time that is the minimum time that the minimum time that we actually definitively need. So I would like to make a call and suggest let's move back to a 60-minute time window. Does everyone on the call agree with that? If there's anybody who disagrees, then yeah, please, Mark, please go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was going to give it a thumbs up, but
Ah,
yes, I agree.
okay, so you do. Okay, let's do it the other way around. Everyone who agrees, please raise your hand, your virtual hand. Let's do it like this. Let's double check whether everyone's still awake. All right, here we have the count is going up. All right, perfect. Okay, we have a thumbs up also flying through the screen, I think. Okay, so I think, yeah, we can say, I think there is some degree of majority already that agrees with that. Let's go back to a 60-minute time window. Thank you very much for confirming that. I will also update the calendar entry on our Google Calendar, which I highly recommend subscribing for everyone who wants to participate in those calls, because, you know, with the time zone shifts, I think we've seen how quickly things can become confusing, to say the least. All right, thank you. And with that, I should actually have been moving back to the slide deck, I just realized. With that, we have a timetable for the next call. As I said, we are going to stick with 5 p.m. UTC for the time being. Our next call is going to be on May 14. The timetable is going to continue as it is right now. It's going to be monthly, every second Wednesday, and that makes it the May 14th. I think that is correct. Let me double check, but I think that is exactly the timetable. Yes, 5 p.m. UTC. This is 7 p.m. my time, but 14th it is, and I will be updating that after the call to actually reduce it to a 60 minutes time window. And after the May call, we already can say, unless we agree on a different setting during the next call, the next call afterwards is then going to come up on June 11th. And the timing is up for us to please voice your opinion on the survey. The survey is still open. I will share the survey again on the mailing list, on the forums, and whatever media I hope to find. Maybe I'm gonna even do a LinkedIn posting, I don't know, to, you know, broaden the audience. Let's see how that goes. Otherwise, please subscribe to the calendar. This is the best way to ascertain that you have the right time for the call in your calendars. With that, closing, I want to invite all of us to please, stay in touch, participate in the work, review what the foundation is doing in their laptop project on GitHub, on the mailing list, participate by bringing feedback, inputs, help testing, stay tuned in terms of what is happening with the usability testing group. Alice is going to announce that very soon, as she said before. And with that, I think we come to a close. Yes. The goals remain the same. And unless anybody has any question, very
Chris,
much within. Yes.
Can you go back to when the next call is?
Yes, absolutely. May 14, 10 a.m.
Okay.
PT,
Excellent.
1 p.m. ET, and 5 p.m. UTC. Any questions? Yeah, no problem. Absolutely no problem. You're welcome. Any questions?
Can we find the slides somewhere? I looked in the repo, but
yes. Oh, the slides. Yes. Thank you very much. Actually, that is a very good point. I probably never really mentioned that. Let me show you really quickly. On our wiki, we have, where is it? Active projects. And there is a laptop desktop working group page. And on here, we keep records on all our calls. And here you find the slides, the links to the recording, and also the links to the chat log. Basically, everything should be here. If you feel anything is missing, then please let me know. All these shares should be open for you to also, you know, add comments. All right. Any further questions? Okay. Then thank you very much. We are at the end of the call, and I think with that, we will end the recording. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe to the FreeBSD channel, and see you next time.